Welcome to Ice Flame. Join us on another Star Wars adventure. Punch it, Chewie. Hey y'all, Ike here, and it is great to be with you guys. I'm excited to talk some more Star Wars. We're going to talk specifically Bad Batch today. Um, Before we do, uh, thanks for tuning in the last few weeks and talking. We've had some interesting conversations. We've had some fun conversations with Tiara and some others, but we've also had some interesting conversations about spirituality and Star Wars with Andy and with Mike from Genuine Chit Chat. So if you haven't listened to those, go back and listen to them. And with all that said, I hope that we have respected where any of you guys are coming from. That you guys can get on board, enjoy listening to those, learn. I know I learned a lot by listening to those and finding or partaking in those conversations. And that's been a lot of fun. So go back and listen to those if you guys have not. But today we're going to dive in to Bad Batch. And just me today, so we enjoy that. My dog may show up or wander around in the background, or whine in the background, one of the two. But so she'll be wandering around here. But we've gotten Bad Batch, and we are moving our way through Bad Batch. So at this point we had just had the 2 episode premiere this last Wednesday, and it was good. I've been super pleased with Bad Batch so far. We kind of got this Crosshair arc coming back. We have, so we have Crosshair coming back. He's in the fold. It's been really intriguing to see this relationship between Crosshair and Omega, and I've really enjoyed this relationship that we've seen between them, and I also really enjoyed seeing Rex more. We've seen a little bit less of Echo, but I've enjoyed seeing Rex working with the Bad Batch, with Hunter and Wrecker, and it's been a lot of fun. And then the biggest thing is right now we don't have a Tech. Is Tech gone for good from last season? We don't know. And we're still waiting on that. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, Tech still, he has to be there. He's gonna come back." I don't know, but we'll see. And then the first thing I want, or the first kind of two big things I want to talk about there, and the first one of those is this a Rogue One situation? I know a lot of people have talked about this or speculated, like Rogue One in the sense of nobody makes it out. The only one we know for sure would be Rex, because we see Rex in later things in Rebels and and so we know Rex would potentially be isn't going to die, but with like Tech and Echo, I don't think we have Echo after this. Tech and Echo, and Hunter and Wrecker and Crosshair, like even if Tech comes back, but all of them, like, we are they all gonna die, or do we? I mean, is there somehow lead into something else Star Wars related that we get them in? I don't know. I'll be intrigued to see what that plays out. My guess is some of them are going to die, at least. I don't know if all of them, but some of them. I could see like maybe all the guys die, or Omega survives somehow, and we just haven't gotten her pop back up in Star Wars for some reason, whatever that is. And so it's very interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that, and see how all that unfolds and plays out. And other character I want to maybe think about a little bit here is Cody. Cody, I don't believe has showed up. We got Wolf here in this last episode, which was intriguing. I enjoyed that. It was an interesting scene. But we haven't got Cody. I know we've had Cody the past couple seasons, and so I'm going to be intrigued to see, does Cody come into play? It seems that in season 2 that Cody had a pivotal conversation with Crosshair after a mission, and I think that's led to where Crosshair is at now. And so, or at least part of what's led to where Crosshair is at now, with leaving the Empire and understanding the Empire is not for him, And so with that said, I think it'll be interesting to see if Cody comes into play, if Cody's all a part of this. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we see Cody anywhere either, like Rebels or anything of that nature. Um, we do see Wolf, I'm pretty sure. So that's interesting now that I'm thinking about it. I'm pretty sure we see Wolf and Rebels. And so, with all that said, it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out. Um, and then, excuse me, but then the kind of the second thing, I'm gonna actually have three things here. Never mind. I keep thinking of things. The second thing is, and I mentioned this a little bit just a minute ago, but is the interactions between Crosshair and Omega. And it's also been fun to see the interactions between Wrecker and Crosshair and Hunter, and even Rex and Echo. And so it's I'm going to be intrigued to see how that develops here the second half of the season, how they continue to develop that, how that comes to fruition, what the culmination of that is, knowing that this is the last season of Bad Batch, knowing, like we first talked about there, that we don't know if how many of them are going to make it out of Bad Batch out of this season, and so it'll be intriguing to see what happens. It'll just be interesting to see what happens to all that, and I'm excited to see how all that plays out, because so far they've done some really, really, really good character development. And did I say really good enough there? But like they've done a really good job with character development. I think they always have pretty well with Bad Batch, but especially this season, I've really enjoyed how they've developed the characters, how they've brought them in, and all these certain things. So I've really enjoyed that, and it's been interesting. So that brings me to the last thing. The thing I want to talk about probably the most over the last kind of half of this video or podcast today is how does first off, the cloning, all the cloning aspect with Omega, with Namaste. Oh, that's not right, is it? The Namaste, that's something else. The what is their species? Kaminoans, with the Kaminoan who knows Omega, and all that comes with that, and how the Empire is manufacturing cloning, discovering cloning, researching all these things, and it just seems like it's a central piece of this. And I'm excited, and we got a tease this last week of we're gonna figure some more out of why the Empire is doing what they're doing, and I'll just say we got a tease for that. But it's interesting to see how all this has been put together, and because one thing I think ever since watching the Clone Wars, and then we get Rebels, and we see a couple clones, like the clones is older, like Rex and Wolf, and some of them in Rebels. I think for a lot of us, I know me specifically, it's always been a question of what happened to the clones. Also, the transition from clone trooper to stormtrooper, and we're seeing some of that. And so I love that they're diving into that. I know they started that a lot in season 2, but they really, really explored that even more. And it's been interesting to see why they're doing what they're doing. The special, we have the special ops that are that were clone troopers, and that they've brainwashed, and it's kind of scary, and or just you almost feel bad because you already have the Order 66 chip, and then they're just continuing to brainwash these clones, and it's really tough to say, man, it's at times it's tough to fault some of the clones for what they're doing, because they're being so manipulated by the Empire, and even after Order 66, and how all this is playing out. And I think also where they're imprisoning some of these clones, they're in cells where Crosshair escaped from, and so all that's really interesting. and we're getting a lot. It's explaining a lot of why or how we transition from clone trooper to stormtrooper in the Empire, and it'll be interesting to see the continuation of that and kind of the culmination. I feel like over the next little bit. Um, and obviously there's a interest in cloning and the why behind that, the whatever Palpatine or Vader or whoever is up to higher up in the Empire and asking them to do all these things to figure out cloning is like, what is that purpose? We don't know that for sure. I can make some speculations, but we don't know that for sure. So what is the purpose of wanting to know more about cloning, but at the same time getting rid of clone troopers? There's almost a disconnect there, and so there has to be something more that they're after. And I believe I thought I saw something about Vader in the next episode, or the next episode called Vader. So that'll be interesting. Speaking of Vader, to have him in this next episode and to see what role that plays, if that tells us if we get any more information from that and that sort of thing. So I'll be intrigued to see what happens with that. And to kind of go with the speculation of why they're doing cloning, I wonder, is this going to connect to Moff Gideon with the Dark Trooper cloning, all this kind of weird stuff that we explore in The Mandalorian? Even to episode 9, if they talk about like with the cloning of Emperor Palpatine and how all that has played out. I think it's the Aftermath book series that takes place between episode 6 and episode 6 and 7. They talk about some cloning stuff that takes place on Jakku, and all this stuff that kind of comes about of like they're trying to clone. But we know, I mean, we kind of get this idea that the cloning is to keep Palpatine alive. I mean, I think this also goes back all the way to I was trying to think. Like Darth Plagueis, and this understanding of like he 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 was able to manipulate life. He was able to save life. What Palpatine influenced Anakin with like, I can save your wife. We can work together to figure this Sith magic out. Sith use the dark side of the Force to manipulate how long people live, manipulate and be able to save lives, and all that comes with that. And so it's really interesting to see if all this connects in some way, because we obviously we have that mentioned. Episode 3, we get Dark Plagueis the Wise story. We have Legends there. We get the Clone Troopers in episode 2, and all that comes of that. And then, like I said, the Aftermath book series, I believe, talks about it. There's episode 9 and all that comes with that. And sometimes I even wonder, episode 8, when Rey is in this, what do I want to say? We know Rey has parents. We find that out, but Rey is in that like water hole type thing, and she's looking in the mirror. Like, does that have something to do with it? We know that Snoke was a clone in episode 8. And like I said, and then The Mandalorian, we have a lot of cloning references. There's experiments, it looks like. Like, what are they doing? I mean, even with, I didn't think about that till now, but in Kenobi, when we go to the Inquisition Castle, or whatever that is called. I don't know if that's actually what it's called, but we see these Jedi that they're like preserving, I think. I'm not sure, but we don't get a lot of information. Like, are they trying to do something with that? Are they trying to use the Force-sensitive beings? We see that, and so it's just interesting to see how all that plays out. And I'm very interested to see what is coming of all that. And I think the other thing I want to mention here, kind of, and this more out there, is, I don't know, if you guys know for sure, I don't think we know, is like who is Omega a clone of? Is it a Boba Fett strand, but she's just a female? Is there another clone? Somebody else they clone? I mean, and because of this fascination with Force users, um, and trying to preserve them and all this stuff, and use these different attributes and clone things, and we even get to see this in like Moff Gideon being after the dark saber and all this stuff. Like, and we know, I mean, obviously we know Vader and Palpatine are after all this. I'm going to beg the question, I want to put it out there, is Omega somehow Force sensitive because of whoever her clone donor was? We don't know. At least I don't think we do. Maybe we do. I don't know. But that's been something that's been wandering around my brain, and I'm just curious, like, what would that look like? I think it would make sense because she seems to be, especially in this episode, this season so far, she's like the central target. Like, I mean, they want the other Clone Force 99 dead, but they don't really they don't want Omega dead. They need Omega for something. And I mean, even in the first few episodes, they were taking Omega's blood, and so like blood samples, and so it's gonna be intriguing to see all that. Lastly, I like to say, like, I love that Omega has this pet, Betcher. I'm pretty sure it's, I don't know, like a dog hound type thing. Kind of fun. So that's kind of a fun side note and things. But I'm excited for second half. There's a lot of things there. I think they're going to explain more the clone trooper to stormtrooper. I think we're going to get more information on why they're pursuing cloning so much, and even the significance of Omega, whether she's Force sensitive or a specific clone strand or whatever that is that they're looking to try to figure out for the future. So that's a lot of fun. So it's been great to be back with you guys again this week. Come back on Friday for another episode. Probably talk a little bit more Bad Batch, and maybe a few other things. And also, and I'll put this link in the description, my Etsy shop is officially up and going. I got some digital art on there. You can print some of it. You can also get it printed on a canvas. So different things. I just got a couple things up there right now. There'll be more coming. But go check that out. The link will be in the description, and just see what's going on there. So thanks for joining me today. It's super awesome to be able to talk some more Star Wars, and I'm glad we're getting a good season of Bad Batch, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. And like we always say here on X Flame, light the fire. Have a great week.